Fantasy football junkies, you are tuned in to the #1 source for fantasy prognostication. It's Testosterone Fantasy Sports with your hosts, Jeff and Jesse. So listen up. Here's your chance to gain the edge over the competition and dominate your fantasy football league. Every week we break down all of the matchups and tell you who to play as well as who should ride the pine. This is the joint that every fantasy junkie needs, so check it out!
Fantasy freaks and testosterone junkies, you've done it again. You've tuned in to Testosterone Fantasy Sports right here on MCN Channel 6 going down every Saturday night. It's the show that you love to love. Jeff and Jesse back in the house. Jeff, it's fantastic to be here. We got the purple set flowing, a big win last week against the Bears, and we're here to celebrate.
Yeah, we're in first place for the first time, and I can't remember how long.
Yeah.
And it feels great at 7-5 right now. We just put the stomping on the Bears, and it came at the hands of this man right here, Adrian Peterson.
That's right.
Rushed to the tune of $131 and a touchdown, had a great touchdown run. And I'll tell you, Jesse, I was really, really pleased, very impressed, and I'm very, very proud to give props to our coaching staff.
Hell yeah, it was a great game for us as Vikings fans. We loaded up on turkey on Thanksgiving Day. We sat back on the couch, got all fat and bloated. I dined myself on some pecan pie and just really enjoyed the weekend. Went out and shot some birds with my old man. Had a fantastic weekend, and the culmination of the whole thing came Sunday night with the Metrodome rocking and taking it to the Bears, a final score of 34-14. Our team, Jeff, really put things together in that game. A statement made on offense, a statement made on defense, really a complete team victory if you look at it. We're going to touch on some of the high points here, but we would be remiss if we didn't start out by talking about number 28, Adrian Peterson. We've sang the guy's praises on this show repeatedly, and dude, in that game, he was an absolute man-child. He made runs no other running back could have made.
Yeah, man, like my mom, who lives in Idaho, called me up to talk to me about Adrian Peterson. She's like, that boy's amazing.
Yeah.
Where did he play football in college at? I can't believe it. So I told her, he's a Sooner. He was a Sooner. And she was like, he played against Boise State. Why didn't he do that in the game? Well, we remember that he did.
Right.
One play in overtime, 20-yard touchdown. Just an amazing show of athleticism. He did it to the Bears last weekend. He's done it to the Bears in the past. That's becoming a trend.
Absolutely.
Anytime the Vikings play the Bears for the rest of Adrian's career, here I think that he's going to go off against that team.
He's
it's
got
personal point of pride.
He's got 8 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns against the Bears in his 4 career games. And I mean, let's face it, the Bears are a really solid defense. They come to play ball.
Yeah.
And in that game, it just seemed, watching him run throughout that contest, like he just would not be denied. It was a physical talent thing, yes, but it was also a heart thing for Adrian. Running late in the 4th quarter, you could tell that he was dinged, and he came off limping a couple different times, but finished that drive out, finished the game, capped it off with the aforementioned touchdown run, and really it was all about number 28 in that contest, the focal point of our offense, and he really delivered in a must-win game, Jeff. But for me, the high point of the game was that series where we stopped them on 4th and goal at
that was amazing.
And then dropped the bomb, baby. 99-yard touchdown pass.
Which is
Bernard
why
Berry.
we want to say, to Brad Childress and the coaching staff out there, excellent job. Way to go for the jugular in that situation. We had gotten the momentum on our side of the ball by stuffing the scoring attempt by the Bears right on the 1-yard line. That's always a big boost for your team. To then come out and in an obvious rushing situation, especially for a team that hasn't had that much success against the pass or in the passing game. Bernard has been really quiet the last few weeks. It was just a stroke of coaching genius to get him out there. They had him single covered, and I don't know how Peanut Tillman wasn't on him better. Everybody on the field, in the house and in the nation, was expecting another Adrian Peterson run.
Right.
So the opportunity opened itself up, and Childy, good job, dude. We finally are able to say this about, your attempts on the field. It was fantastic. keep up the momentum, and it's going to be great to see as we go forward. Although, Jesse, I got a bit of a headache, man. It's a big headache, dude, and it's got Williams Wall written all over it, bro.
Yeah, we've got to talk about this now. Of course, you out there in Vikings land have heard by now, Pat and Kevin Williams, the Grizzle coming down this week, the whole Star Caps incident. We taped this show on Thursday night, so there are rumblings that a possible injunction could be coming on behalf of their lawyers and their legal team that is in place, trying to keep these two studs on the field. The Williams Wall at the heart of our defense, really making Jared Allen be that speed rusher off of the edge, helping him put on tremendous amount of pressure over the past couple weeks. I believe he had 3 sacks against Kyle Orton last Sunday night, playing at a high level. And as we move forward, we're really going to need Pat and Kevin Williams in the lineup, Jeff. You know, it would be a potentially big loss, but at this point, we don't know yet. I mean, you look at the Matt Jones situation. This guy's played all season after getting busted with coke. We remember Travis Henry last year failed a urinalysis test. He played for weeks and weeks and weeks. So, I mean, we can't write off the Williams Wall so far, but if we would lose them, it would be a devastating loss to our playoff hopes.
I mean, everybody around here is singing, you know, a very bluesy tune because it feels like we finally got into first place, and now we're going to lose the heart and soul of our defense. Our secondary has had a fantastic season, primarily based on the fantastic pass rush and the great run-stuffing ability. We held the Bears down to 96 yards only last week, so these guys are a very impactful part of our team. To lose them could be very detrimental, but in all the talking about it that we've done throughout the course of this week, Jesse, to get ready for the show, we're not necessarily taking a negative approach here. We believe that we can still make the playoffs through this situation. We have a really nice schedule that kind of should lend itself to getting the last 2 wins of the year that we think it'll take for us to get into the playoffs. So I think that the doors could open for us still. It's not a reason to panic right now. Maybe the boys will play or not this coming week. Regardless, if we do have the 4-game suspension now and we make the playoffs, they're back in the playoffs, round 1.
Huge.
And we're going to be a better team going into the playoffs. So I think this could be a possible blessing in disguise for our team. Dealing with this adversity could cause the rest of the guys to come together, focus a little bit harder, and circle the proverbial wagons like we've seen in the past. So it starts off nicely because, honestly, if we can't go to Detroit and win without those guys, do we deserve to be in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's a really good question too, Jeff. And I think as we look forward at the Viking schedule, of course, we've got Detroit this week. Then next week we have to travel down to Arizona to square off with the high-flying Kurt Warner-led Cardinals. And then it's back here at the Dome, I believe, for back-to-back games against the Falcons and, of course, against the New York Giants. And when we talk about needing 2 wins out of those 4 wins, essentially the one key win comes this week at Detroit. We have to take care of business, have to beat the Lions. They haven't won on the season. They will be led by our former quarterback, Dante Culpepper, who we know would love to exact a little bit of revenge. But let's not forget that last season, Dante suited up for the Raiders against us and didn't really pull any any rabbits out of the bag or rabbits out of the hat. I'm not going to be too concerned about the Lions game. I think it is very important for us to step out early in this contest, just like the Titans did last week against the Lions, and just smack them in the face, drop 2 touchdowns on them in the first quarter, and watch these Lions roll over.
Yeah, they're having a horrible season. They still have yet to win. So I do think that they'll be up for this matchup. But, I mean, it's the Lions, so you'd think that they would have been up for last week's matchup because it's tradition that they play on Thanksgiving. They look disinterested and diseased and talent deficient. So honestly, I just don't think that they can match up with us even without the Williams Wall. On a fantasy note, I like Kevin Smith a lot more in this game without the Williams boys. And for our team, you know, I love all of our players offensively.
Absolutely.
This game could possibly have a lot of scoring in it. And then, of course, you got to keep Calvin Johnson going. We're not going to be able to rush the ball or rush the passer quite as well, so Cal could have a pretty nice day.
Yeah, if you haven't done so already, make sure you find your way onto our website at testosteronesports.com. I've got a poll question up there about the MVP race, and we're going to drop a little prediction here. As I really started to sit back in my on my couch on Sunday night and just let the runs that Adrian was making wash over me, Jeff. Now, granted, I have purple blood coursing through my veins, and you know, I'm a Vikings pimp through and through. I got to admit, though, that I think Adrian Peterson captivated a nation on Sunday night. And looking at this MVP race right now, is Kurt Warner the MVP? Is Drew Brees? He may not make the playoffs. An MVP candidate no one's ever won the MVP, or you'd have to go back all the way to O.J. Simpson to find an MVP who missed the playoffs. So Brees may not win it. Favre, he's kind of slipped off, especially last week against Denver. And what I'm saying is the season is only 2/3 of the way done. And Adrian Peterson has these next 4 games, against 3 of which come against some pretty beatable defenses. And I'm going out there, man, and I'm saying that I think Adrian Peterson, if they give him the ball enough times, I think he could win the MVP coming down the stretch. We've got his jersey here. I've got a poll question up there. I know I voted. I think Adrian's going to take home the MVP.
Well,
man.
I really like that. Of course, we're huge Adrian fans. We definitely want to see you get it, bro. But, if you look at the schedule down the stretch and then the mentality of what we'll need to do to win some of these games, we're going to want to get Adrian going early against Detroit. They're a horrible run-stopping defense.
Terrible.
That one's kind of a gimme. Okay, then we talked about the Arizona game. We go to Arizona. They're a playoff-bound team for sure, and they're a great passing team. They're good on the run, but without the Williams boys, we're going to give up more yards on the ground than anything. So I think that what we're going to need out of our boys against Arizona is heavy rushing attack,
right,
ball control, win the time of possession battle, and keep Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, Steve Breston, Edge, and Tim Hightower all off the field as much as possible. Okay, so then the next game after that, Atlanta at home.
Right.
Here we've got another same situation. This time we've got a team who runs the ball a lot with Michael Turner.
Absolutely.
Top 5 in rushing. So we're going to want to keep him off the field as well, and they're going to do the same thing against us, try to play that possession ball control style to keep the ball on their side and then get more points.
And I also think too, Jeff, that as we're seeing Chester Taylor get mixed into the mix a little bit more, that's going to help Adrian Peterson down the stretch here. He can come out of the game. The team obviously has confidence handing the ball to Chester. If Adrian needs a breather after one of his big long runs and whatnot, I think Adrian is at his most effective when he's getting 17 to 23 touches a game. You start to see him get 27, 29, 30. His violent running style really takes a toll on him. So I want to see him when he's in there running fresh, running hard, and making big plays down the stretch. I'm throwing my hat in the ring. At the beginning of the year, I said Adrian would be a contender for the most valuable player, and I honestly believe, Jeff, for us to win this division and get a home playoff game, we're going to need Adrian to play at an MVP caliber over the final month of the season.
Well, what's great for us is that he can do it.
That's
we
right.
have all the confidence in
right.
the world that this young man is the best running back in the game. We've been talking about it since he was drafted pretty much. He's a physical specimen. He's got a great mentality. He's going to beat you with every single run whenever he can.
That's right.
He's a never say die champion type of a personality. He can do it. We can hang our hopes on this young man just like we did last week. And if we do need 35 carries out of him, he'll give us 35 carries. He'll come off limping a little bit, but he'll go back on the field. We do need to get Chester more involved. I totally agree with you there, but some of these games are definitely winnable. And the best thing about it is we play the Giants in the last week of the season, and they're not going to play hardly any of their stars because they're going to be clinched, ready to go to the playoffs, and we might not have to face Jacobs. We won't have to face Burris, the biggest idiot ever in the NFL. It's going to be fantastic. I think Eli will play in that game, and that's about it.
Yeah,
we can beat Steve Smith.
It's
and
a good stretch here for Vikings fans. There's a lot of reason to be optimistic.
We can win.
Exactly. And there's a lot more optimism on the show yet to come. If you're new to the scene here at Testosterone Sports, we're going to break down the Vikings in the first segment of the show every single week. It's just a given. That's how we roll. But then we come back from this first segment and we talk all about fantasy, Jeff, because in most of the fantasy leagues out there, the playoffs are beginning right now here in Week 14. We're going to break down all the matchups. Take us away to break here. Tell the people at home why they should stay tuned.
Well, you should definitely stay tuned because this is the show that we love to do. We do it for you. We love to do it ourselves because we love the NFL. But I'll tell you, it's not like we're getting paid to be here. We're not really getting recognized on the street. So if you do see us, do us a favor, stroke our egos a little bit. Jesse's about to get out the horn because every single time we blow the horn, it seems we win. And we have a big reason to blow the horn this weekend after crushing the Bears. We're going to go beat the Lions, and we're going to move on after that to Arizona. It's going to be fantastic. Jesse, take it away. We'll be right back after this break. Skol!
want to win,
you must tune in
to Testosterone Fantasy Sports.